just a quick one. I'm going to do a recording of Software Should Be Free. My camera moved. I think my camera's moved. Up a bit. Anyone would think the dust is heavy. Something like that. That's a little bit better, isn't it? Right. Let's just have a crack at this. It's just going to be a quick one. Going to do a big clap, so don't mind your ears. It helps me find the start of the recording in Audacity when I'm cutting this up and topping and tailing it for the podcast. I haven't got the console open, but find some way of sending me a message if you're there, if you're watching now or if you're watching later. Just been doing my day planning in Sansama, trying to get to inbox 0. I just want to talk a bit about the new direction and something useful I've learnt. Right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Software Should Be Free with myself, Tim Abell. Quick update today on what direction I'm taking and what I'm doing for it. Hopefully the odd actionable bit in there for you too. The goals continue to be to keep the money rolling in to support me and mine, whilst giving more value than I've ever given before, in a way that fits my particular talents, my desire to be more of an independent business person, not to be confused with doing everything on my own, of course. So, following some coaching, which I highly recommend, I have taken a step back from my first attempt with the e-commerce integration agency idea. Coach pointed out that I've jumped too far ahead, trying to jump straight to the answer because feeling the pressure. Been doing a bit of work on Headspace, generally feeling a lot less stressed about everything, which is really, really good. So super grateful for that help. Great thing about the coaches, particularly business coaches, is they have that wonderful combination of understanding the way the brain works or doesn't, and helping get through those things. So that's been helping me with my stress and ways of thinking, but also bringing business knowledge and being able to say, like, whether what you're doing is sensible or not. So the new chosen direction, after much thinking and much talking, is to continue with the contracting in order to keep making use of the skills I already have, possibly stepping that up a bit. So I've reworked the Charm Consulting homepage to be a little bit less, hey, this is me, this is the programming that I can do, and be a little bit more, we offer digital delivery, because I have some strengths beyond just programming. I have led the odd team. I've helped filter finding people. I have plenty of opinions about what makes a team work well or not well. I've seen all sorts, good, bad, and indifferent, in various teams. It's been one of the privileges of contracting. Has been able to see all sorts of teams doing all sorts of things, good, bad, indifferent. So hoping to bring a bit of that value. Get in touch if you know anyone who wants any help on the digital delivery side of any shape, or who wants to be involved. Anyone who would like to work with me on projects. I can't promise when that would be, but I'd love to have you on the list. Either to work with as a client or to work with as a supplier. So that'd be cool. I won't be hiring anyone permanent just yet. But maybe that's something for the future. For the time being, loose network of independent people, freelancers, contractors, coming together as a good team, making use of my ability to filter for great people who can ship, and making that happen. So that's kind of the plan on that front. Maybe doing a bit more direct marketing. Oh wait, no, that's a loaded term, isn't it? As in, previously I've gone through recruiters exclusively, which has been great. I like them a lot more than a lot of developers like recruiters. I think that they bring their own particular value. They really understand the markets. And I'm sure I'll continue to have discussions with them and maybe get the odd piece of work coming through them. But I also want to improve my brand and presence and visibility to the kind of people who would be hiring directly. Maybe diversify a bit in the kind of projects that I get working on. So on the as it were day job, that's kind of the plan there. So we'll see how that goes. Wish me luck. And then the broader ambition to build something that's a bit more like producty, get away from the time for money kind of side of things. The advice from my coach was to be vigorous in making good use of the time I have and defend the time. So making sure that the digital delivery contract kind of work gets the time it needs, but doesn't overflow. Making sure I spend the family time, but making sure that doesn't ruin work time. Making sure the work time doesn't ruin family time. That's a kind of given for me. But also making sure that there is a chunk of time somewhere in my schedule to progress on something more long term. I'm still going to go with the podcaster market initially. I know that's going places. I know podcasting is growing. For example, Justin Jackson's Transistor FM podcast hosting has gone up like a rocket ship, which is fantastic. I'm really pleased for him. Obviously not going to compete with him in that space. That's not my thing, but go and learn a bit about that space. I had ummed and ahed about developers or podcasters. It's really hard to choose, like talking to the coach, don't know which one's going to be right for me or which one's going to work or which one's not going to work. And the point my coach made is that it's not black and white. You can try one, and if that doesn't work, you can go and try the next. It's not all or nothing. It's not an irreversible decision. So that's cool. So decision made, podcaster. So I'll be hanging around in Reddit, in the private Slacks, in maybe doing firing up another podcast. Thanks to Transistor, I can make multiple podcast shows under different brands for no extra cost because I already pay for Transistor hosting. So that's really cool. Thanks, Justin. Justin and John. So still using Sensama to plan my day, still loving that. Sensama HQ on Twitter. A nice compliment to GTD. Just happened across some SavvyCal stuff while I was trying to get to Inbox Zero. I like SavvyCal for calendar scheduling, and I like what Derek's doing there. And if you find yourself wanting to book some time with me, which hopefully you will, then ping me and I'll send you the calendaring link, and you can try it out and book some of my time. So that'd be cool. So to follow that chain, so he'd sent out, or his team had sent out an email with some tips on inbox management, email inbox management, which is really handy. I just posted a thing on LinkedIn about that. And some cool stuff in there. I like the GTD system. So pushing emails into GTD is good. GTD in Trello is good. I've got an article on that, which you can go and find on my blog. Effective GTD with Trello. One of the tips that I picked up today from that email was that the idea of always replying to your emails a day later, which is a good way. Like, email's not intended to be urgent generally, and there's so many ways to contact someone. So that avoids the spiral of email to and fro by just introducing that time delay. I really like that as a tip. Definitely gonna think about doing that one. I need to move my email host because Toughmail is shutting down, which makes me very sad. The other thing on a completely different field that I picked up today, so I've started listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. So I've never really got into this because I've sort of seen him. This is rubbish, and this is my own fault, but I got the impression that it was all a bit rah-rah and a bit the way to get rich quick is to sell a get rich quick scheme. Sort of came across a bit that way to me. But now that a lot of people have mentioned him, either in my circles or in the startup kind of folks that I've been listening to. So finally, I finally found a podcast from him, and have started listening. And sorry, Gary V, but it's actually a lot more giving and a lot more useful for an entrepreneurial minded person than I expected, which is great. And I've already picked up something from that which I hadn't realised and has really helped me. The idea of like putting stuff out there on social media and blogs and whatever channel of the day is. There's a couple of tips he had which I think are really useful. One is the stock and flow model for content marketing, which I'd never heard of, but apparently is a thing, and it wasn't him that invented it when I went Googling. And that's the idea that you post a lot of stuff. The flow is the kind of throwaway bits that just keep you in people's minds, keep the algorithms happy, because they will bury you if you don't have regular output. And then stock is the pieces of your output which are more long-lived, which provide kind of deeper value, that maybe drive SEO or people will keep coming back to. And you mix those two up, and that gives you happy algorithms and plenty of inbound traffic. And I really like that, and I can use that as a model for the things that I'm going to do next, which is really, really fantastic. So I've learnt that today. There was something else that came out of the Gary V thing. I forget what it was. Anyway, I think I'm going to call that a day. So do subscribe on whatever channel you found me, and please do send me a message. Any questions, if you'd like to chat, that would be awesome. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. And that is it for Software Should Be Free. Woo! Right. And I'm going to scoot. Thank you, live stream watchers or belated live stream watchers. Likewise, give me a shout, subscribe. In these days of never seeing anyone, be good to see some friendly voices. Oh, and I like the idea of all the digital stuff. I think this was from Cal Newport's most recent book. Was when you're using WhatsApp or email or anything else, other than like business transaction kind of stuff, like factual bits, just always using those platforms to, as quickly as possible, get it into face-to-face contact, which is the stuff that really matters to human beings. So if someone's on WhatsApp and they start engaging you in a conversation, say, that's great, we should get together and talk about that. Let's arrange a time. Here's my Savvy Cal link, or whatever. I do want to do a business to consumer business where it just encourages people to get together for real, rather than Facebook that kind of encourages people to not get together and just watch each other's blooming feeds. Obviously respect for people who are keeping in touch with people abroad, but that's fine. I want to see more FaceTime. COVID safe FaceTime, of course. Right. Back to this and so